Yo, let's talk about Venus retrograde in Aries and in Pisces. This is going to be one of the most major events that's happening in 2025 for your relationships, for your money, for your values, for your desires, for what you're attracting into your life. If you want to book a free 10-minute reading, link is in the description. So let's get it. So what does Venus retrograde mean? Well, when a planet goes retrograde, it's when it slows down so much that it appears that it's moving backwards. But for simplicity, we're just going to say that Venus starts moving backwards. And with Venus moving backwards, it makes us reflect on all of the energies that Venus represents, which is our values. So what is it that you value? You're now going to be reflecting on and maybe making some different decisions, because when we reflect, if we're truly reflecting and asking ourselves some deep introspective questions, we might realize that we come to a different decision or a different perspective or a different understanding of what it is that you truly value. So do you value patience and integrity? Do you value a heightened level of independence? And reflecting upon your values, are you realizing that you haven't been valuing yourself as much as you should be, or haven't been taking enough action to go and get what you value? This energy is connected with Aries. Aries is the energy of the identity, but it's also a highly action-orientated energy. So if you're not valuing yourself enough, then you might not take action to get what you desire because you don't think you're worth it deep down. So these are like these deep introspective psychological questions that we're doing on ourselves and almost doing this internal therapy during Venus retrograde to find out what it is we really value, what it is that we're really worth. And your worth has not diminished. It's just whether you see it or not. So Venus retrograde actually puts on the magnifying glass to help you to see your true value. Because whenever a planet goes retrograde, it comes closer to the Earth, which means that we're zooming in on what that energy represents. And just to remind you, Venus represents pleasure, values, relationships, desires, shared experiences. So in this energy, this is what we're reflecting on right now. So when we're reflecting on value, then it's also going to show you're reflecting on how much money you're attracting into your life, how much wealth you're attracting into your life. With Venus going into Aries, it's in detriment, which means that the energy kind of weakens or does the opposite of what you expect. So when we're looking at Venus, it's also the energy of like appreciation. So when you're looking at value appreciating, it's like you buy a house and the value appreciates, so the house is now worth more. So assets are now decreasing in value, which is great if you've got some savings put by, because now you can invest in an asset and get it for cheaper. Do you get what I'm saying? So certain things you're going to be able to actually acquire for cheaper during this Venus retrograde time. There was actually a post I saw on Instagram where Floyd Mayweather bought some like Manhattan apartments for a stupid cheap price. I say stupid cheap price, but stupid cheap price for super fucking rich people who have got way more money than I have. But you get the gist. You get what I'm saying? Like the assets and stock. I saw another post where stock prices were plummeting from like Google, Amazon, Apple, etc. So if you've got any money put aside that you can afford to invest in assets right now, it's also going to be a good time because they're going to be plummeting while Venus is in Aries. And then they might appreciate and rise again when Venus goes back into Pisces, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. So get it in between March 1st and March 27th. That would be a good time for you to buy some assets at a cheaper price if you've got any money sitting by. Now, we're also going to be reflecting on our relationships. Now, with Venus being in Aries, one of the main relationships you're going to be reflecting on is your relationship with yourself, because Aries is the energy of self-identity. It's a selfish zodiac sign. It doesn't mean that every Aries is selfish. It means that it's focusing on self, understanding the self and valuing the self. So that's going to be a time when you're really deeply focusing on your relationship with yourself. But also look where Aries sits in your birth chart, because that's also an area where you're going to be reflecting on that relationship with that area of your life, whether that is your relationship with money, your relationship with sex and intimacy, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your career and purpose. That's going to show the different energies of what this represents in your life. Now, relationships are going to potentially go through a little bit of a rocky phase during the Venus retrograde if you're not dealing with this consciously. What I recommend is that if you're currently in a relationship, a romantic relationship, that you actively over communicate, that you have extra communication with your partner right now, because you want to go through this period of time consciously. You want to be having this reflection period consciously. You don't want to be going into yourself and into your emotions and your feelings and staying quiet and thinking, I'm not sure if this is the right partner for me. I'm not sure if this is what I really value. No, have that conversation openly and outwardly. Aries is the energy about being direct. So if you're having these reflections, you're having these reconsiderations, you're having these internal questions or doubts or fears, have that conversation openly with your partner so that you can consciously go through this and both of you can reflect and reanalyze. Is this still the direction that we're going in? Is this still what we want as a partnership? Are we still fighting for the same goals? Are we still aligned? Now, if you're single, then I recommend the best thing for you to do right now is not for you to get in your feelings about relationships or pursue anything too hard, even though Venus in Aries is sometimes about like going and getting what you want. But I think it's important for you, if you're single right now, to strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself. And that is going to magnify your attractiveness to any kind of relationship that is right for you. Because don't get it wrong, Venus is in detriment in Aries. So if you go out and pursue what you want right now and go out and grab a relationship by force, it's most likely, almost definitely going to be the wrong person for you, because you're doing it based upon the wrong motivations and the wrong energy. It's based upon fear and scarcity and like forcing the relationship instead of allowing it to align. So the best relationship that actually aligns, if you're not already in a relationship, is building the relationship with yourself. But to be fair, even if you are in a relationship, you still need to use this period of time to strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself. Because I think that romantic relationships where you're just constantly all up in each other's shit, that's not healthy either. You need time alone. You need time to just connect with yourself as an individual as well as a partnership. So this is both of those energies are important. And so we'll talk about values, we talked about money, we talked about relationships, desires. All of this energy is the things that we're going to be reflecting on during this time. So as it goes retrograde on March 1st, it's going to be going backwards through Aries. Then it's going to get to March 27th when it goes back into Pisces. And then things get easier during that time because Venus moves back into exaltation. It's a zodiac sign that it loves being in. It's almost like it's being lifted up, it's being raised, it's being promoted. You get what I'm saying? Imagine yourself in a job and you're being promoted now to a position that is more cushier, but you get more money for the job. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that energy. So when Venus is in Aries, it's like it's a bit of a struggle right now. We're kind of fighting between the energy of being independent and the energy of working with other people. We're fighting between the energy of like wanting that cooperation and support, but not always having it. And we're realizing that, yes, we do want to receive the value that we're worth, but we're also realizing with Venus in Aries that we might have to go out and get what we want in a more assertive, direct, and authoritative way during this time with Venus retrograde in Aries. So realize that this is a great time for you to start reflecting on what it is that you value, your way of making money, your approach to relationships. All of these energies are going to be super important for you. And look at where Aries and Pisces sits in your birth chart, because these are going to be the houses that are going to affect you. We're also going to go through all of the zodiac signs now as well. Remember, if you want a free 10-minute reading, book it through the link in my description. So we're going to start with Aries because that's the zodiac sign that's going retrograde in. So Aries, this is really a time for you to reconnect with yourself and reflect on your identity and the way that you approach your life. Are you approaching your life in a way that is aligned, or are you approaching life in a way that feels forced and a bit like you're stumbling around and kind of pushing and shoving and fighting against yourself? By the way, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You can also check this. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great time for you to reconnect with yourself and build the relationship up with yourself again. Venus rules your 7th house and your 2nd house. So it's also good for you to focus on how your relationship with money and your relationship with others are during this time. There's a balance in between you connecting with yourself as an individual and you spending time with partners or focusing on aligning and connecting with other people as well. And it's a great time for you to focus on again, valuing yourself more. The more that you value yourself, the more that you're going to be taking actions that are in alignment with you making more money and being more of a productive individual. And as Venus moves back into Pisces on the 27th, then it's going to be an energy where you're reflecting on your spiritual values. This may be a time of where you're realizing what it is that you need to let go of. And there may be some values that you let go of that actually lift you up as a person. Because remember, Venus is exalted in Pisces, it's lifted up. So the act of you letting go, whether it's letting go of an old ego, an old identity, old value systems that no longer serve you, or even old possessions, it actually allows you to lift yourself up, or even letting go of a partner that no longer serves you, or letting go of an ex, because the Venus retrograde might bring back thoughts of an ex into your life, or even communication with an ex inside of your life. The more that you actually let that go, whether it's letting go of the person itself or letting go of the conflict so you can actually find forgiveness, all of these energies allow you to uplift yourself spiritually and in your life. Taurus. The Venus retrograde will start in your 12th house, which is focused on spirituality. So you're reflecting on your spiritual values, your spiritual identity, any kind of suppressed conflict that you've been allowed to be repressed inside of your subconscious mind with the Aries energy. Sometimes you can have like that tension there. So if you've had there's some old anger that is still lurking inside of your subconscious mind towards an old partner, then this is something that needs to be considered. Also, Venus rules your 6th house and your 1st house. So this is some energy where you can do some spiritual healing or some subconscious healing. You might need to start regressing back into some childhood issues that still need healing as well. This is going to be important for you. And also realize that rest is healing for you as well. That this value upon action sometimes that needs to sometimes be let go of. Maybe it's an ego that's kind of forcing you to constantly be active and constantly be productive because you feel subconsciously that you're not being a person of value if you're not constantly taking action. Realize that there's a balance in between work-life balance, there's a balance in between work and rest. So rest is actually going to be really healing for you right now and help you to tap into your subconscious mind. Pay attention to the value that's coming from your dreams right now as well, because there's going to be lots of messages coming from there. As Venus moves into Pisces on the 27th, then this is going to be stepping into your 11th house. And that's really going to be the energy of where you have let go of the things that are blocking you from connecting with your spiritual tribe. And now it feels a lot easier for you to attract the kind of people that you can align with and work with and feel at harmony with. And it feels a lot easier for you to be more social. When Venus goes retrograde on March 1st, you may feel a bit more antisocial and a bit more of in the hermit mode. But as Venus moves into Pisces on the 27th, then you feel more able to socialize and get out with people, especially people who align with your similar values, because you have a lot greater understanding of what your spiritual values actually are, and you can move towards that direction. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Gemini, the Venus retrograde starts on March 1st in your 11th house. And this energy is going to be starting to reflect on your values and your relationship with socializing and your friendships, your social group, your social networks, how it is that you really want to take action, and what it is that you really want to receive from that friendship. You might begin to start identifying where there are some selfish motives within your social group and your network, whether that is your own selfish motives or the selfish motives of other people. So you're realizing what kind of relationships in your friendships that you need to let go of and cut off, and which ones are worth saving because you're both fighting for the same thing and fighting towards the same goal. As we move into March 27th, when Venus moves into Pisces, it makes it a lot easier for you to invest your energy and invest your valuable skills and assets into your career and in your business. And that really helps you to actually be more appreciated as well. It feels as though you're more appreciated in the world. It feels as though the work that you're putting into your career, into your career and business, it feels more appreciated. It feels more pleasurable for you to step into your career and business right now. And that's also because you've resorted out your social networks and reconfigured your friendships and your alliances. So you haven't got any people that are causing the conflict anymore. And you've realized how you can actually actively provide value to society. So then it now feels easier for you to step into your dream business and your dream career during this time. Cancer. The Venus retrograde for you starts in your 10th house. which means that you're reflecting on what it means what is valuable for you in terms of your career and business. Like how you can actually get the value that you want for your career and business instead of doing a career that doesn't really feel aligned for you, doesn't really feel supporting, or doesn't feel internally fulfilling. So it's time for you to be assertive and go out and get the kind of career that you want, or make the changes that you need to make so that your career and business feels pleasurable, so that it feels like there's an open reciprocation, that you're getting what you want and that they're getting what they want. So you may have to make some changes in terms of your career and business during this time. And as Venus moves into Pisces on March 27th, then it begins to start changing your philosophy. You have a more uplifted philosophy. You might be more positive and more optimistic about the future. You can begin to see a more expansive dream for you in your long-term vision. It just really begins to start changing your outlook on what your career and business looks like, and your philosophy around life. It's easier for you to connect to your higher self during this time. So that just feels more uplifting and more positive for you in this energy. And it may even be a time where you're thinking about moving abroad, where it just feels as though, you know what, you've actually got the confidence because Venus rules your 10th house. So it feels like, no, your 4th house, sorry. So it feels more, you feel more positive and optimistic about moving home and thinking, you know what, maybe I just fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. So that can be good for you as well. Leo, this Venus retrograde begins in your 9th house. So in the energy of your 9th house, this is going to start reflecting on your philosophies and how it is that you connect to your higher self. Now, you connect to your higher self oftentimes through action, with the energy of Aries being there. So, and connecting to the value systems of what your higher identity would move like. So if you think about yourself in the best version of yourself, how would that person move and operate in a daily basis? What is the philosophies of your higher self, of the best version of yourself? This is what you need to reflect on during this Venus retrograde, and start to align with those value systems and make sure this is the way that you're moving and operating in. Venus also rules your 3rd house, and whether am I right? Yeah, it does rule your 3rd house. You know what I'm saying? So Venus rules your 3rd house also, so you need to start communicating and thinking in alignment with those energies as well, because that's going to be super important for you to align with those philosophies and align with those values, as well as ruling your 10th house. So this energy can change as you change your philosophies. You begin to start changing your potentially your career path as well, and reevaluating your career too. As Venus moves into Pisces on March 27th, then this is also an energy where it feels easier to go through the death and transformation that you're actually desiring. It feels easier to let go of the psychological fears and anxieties and let go of the things that you were attached to. So you may have been attached to a certain way of thinking, or a certain career path, or a certain philosophy, but as Venus moves back into Pisces and you begin to start reflecting on the things that you're attached to, the things that you felt as though you needed to give you power, you don't feel as though you need to control them so much or hang on to them as much. It can be an energy of where intimacy feels more empowering for you right now, and you feel more connected to a loved one, or even a past loved one, and that energy rekindles. There may be a potential for some really powerful, intimate sex with an ex that comes back into play. So be aware of how that affects your psychology. But yeah, just really realize that it's a lot easier for you to let go of psychological fears and anxieties and things and attachments that will help you to uplift yourself and be more powerful on the other side. Virgo. Venus retrograde starts in your 8th house. This is going to be a little bit challenging for you, I'm not going to lie, because it's a death and transformation energy, but with Venus being in detriment in Aries, then it's really a kind of difficult one, because you try to hang on so tightly to a way of controlling things sometimes that it's going to be difficult for you to let go of that ego and let go of that way of doing things, because it's kind of almost like psychologically programmed into your being. And you have to let go of the attachment to getting what you want from other people, or getting other people to behave in a way that you desire them to behave, because it's just outside of your control. So that is really going to be able to help you in this energy. However, this is a great time for investments for you, Virgo, because 8th house is the house of investments. So you can actually if you got any money put aside and you can invest in something, an asset that is going to be really cheap for you right now, as Venus in Aries shows the economy is dipping, you know what I'm saying? So buy the dip if you've got any money set aside that you can invest in assets during this time. And also it's going to be an energy where you're reflecting on intimacy and what it is that you truly value in intimacy, and what would be the value of you achieving a definite transformation. What kind of value do you want to achieve on the other side, or transform, kind of person do you want to transform into? Now, it's also going to be affecting your money as well in terms of this energy. So reflecting on how you make money and whether it is that other people are really valuing your services and valuing your offerings, then you can begin to start changing your approach to that. As Venus moves back into Pisces on March 27th, then it really begins to start reflecting on your relationships, but it's in a positive way as Venus is uplifted in Pisces. So it begins to feel easier especially if you've done the shadow work in the 8th house, or reflecting on your values and detaching from controlling how other people interact with you. As you begin to start just letting go and letting God, then your relationships begin to start flowing much more easily. And the people who align with your belief systems and align with your spirituality and align with your energy, they naturally come into your life with flow and ease, instead of feeling as though it needs to be forced. And then you can let go of people who are not aligned with you with it's a lot easier than trying to hold on and control what is outside of your control, essentially. Libra, the Venus retrograde starts in your 7th house, which can be very difficult in terms of relationships for you. And it's almost a difficulty in between, because Venus also rules over you, Libra. So it can be difficult with your relationships with other people in terms of romantic relationships and cooperation with others, but also difficult in terms of your relationship with yourself. So realize that oftentimes during this Venus retrograde, you might realize that what you're noticing in other people that you don't like is also what you don't like about yourself. So this is something that is going to be a good energy. Relationships, as always, Libra, is going to be a mirror for you to reflect on yourself. But in this energy, it might be more challenging than it is usually. It might not be the mirror on the wall, you're the most beautiful of them all. It might be focusing on the challenges and the things that you want to change or uplift or empower about yourself, the kind of person that you wish you could become. And you can become that person, but it's just really focusing on challenging yourself through identifying the flaws that are showing up in your relationships, and reevaluating what it is that you actually desire in relationships, and whether you're actually being assertive enough to go out and get what you want in relationships, instead of just accepting whatever turns up at your door. As Venus moves back into Pisces on March 27th, then this is going to be an energy that is great for you to focus on what it is that you value in work and in your daily routine, and actually allowing yourself to connect to a job or a way of serving and helping people that actually really aligns with what it is that you truly value, aligns with your spiritual values. But the 6th house is also about maintenance. So how are you valuing the way that you maintain yourself? But one way through work, in terms of the spiritual work that you're doing, maintaining yourself with a job that is aligning with your belief systems and what fulfills you deeply and what it is that gives you pleasure, which will be easier when Venus is in Pisces, because the energy is uplifted and you feel better about yourself. But also it's an energy of like really investing in the pleasurable feeling of self-care, of cleansing spiritually and physically, fasting, really beginning to just start enjoying the flow state. So, and finding out what it is that gets you into a flow state every day. Is it waking up and starting your day with dancing? Is it waking up and starting your day with music? Is it waking up and starting your day with some kind of exercise? Like whatever gets you into a flow state, recognize that and start investing in that energy on a daily basis. Scorpio, the Venus retrograde starts in your 6th house, which can be it's an energy of you to reflect on your daily what it is that you're doing every day to go out and get what you want. And Venus being your desires and Aries being an active energy. So if you're not getting what you want in your life, Scorpio, then you need to start reflecting and pointing the mirror back on what you're doing every day. Are you doing something every day that is effective in terms of getting what it is that you want, or are you just fucking about and doing things that are not in alignment with your true value and what it is that you truly desire? is there a work-life balance, or are you working on your soul contract with Venus ruling your 12th house as well? And how is it that you work in relationships as well? What is it that needs healing within your relationships as well? Or what bad habits do you need to let go of in your relationships that are actually causing conflict and causing conflict or a state of dis-ease in terms of your relationships? Focus on reflecting on your health as well. Are you having health problems with your head and eyes? Are you having health problems with your blood or kidneys? Are you having health problems with your circulation? All of these things are stuff that you can begin to start working on right now. I'm a Scorpio, sun and rising. I need to get my glasses fixed. You know what I'm saying? This is something that I need to reflect on. I need to use the Venus money to invest in new glasses because these ones are scratched up. They're on the way. I've already invested in them. But this is just an example of, for the Scorpio energy, of how you can use that, of investing in the energy. Like Aries is the energy of the head and eyes, that vision energy. So, reflect on these energies of how you can begin to start focusing on your healing more and what it is you're doing every day to get what you want. As Venus moves back into the 5th house on March 27th, that's going to be really great for your love and romance and creativity, because Venus gets exalted in Pisces. So it's an energy where you're feeling a lot more romantic, and where romance flows into your life a lot easier. It's an energy where you're feeling a lot more creative and self-expressive, and you're allowing yourself to be more vulnerable and open your heart. But yeah, your creative imagination is going to be on 10 during this time, and that is going to help you to attract more of what it is that you truly desire. And it feels as though the creativity is flowing straight from your 12th house, with Libra ruling that, into your creativity. So that creativity is kind of like flowing through channeling through from God, channeling through from the universe. And if you're in a relationship, then the love is flowing a lot easier. And if you're not in a relationship, then like opportunities for romance are abundant. Sagittarius, this starts in your 5th house, the Venus retrograde. This can be difficult for your love and romance at first. You're reflecting on the challenges and the conflicts that are happening in your romantic life, and even where it is difficult for you to assert yourself creatively and put yourself out there. This is also an energy where you can reflect on your child healing during this time as well, and reflect on what challenges showed up in childhood that are stopping you from really valuing yourself and putting some respect on who you are. Now, once you go back and reflect on that childhood energy and realize that you are worthy of love despite what happened in your childhood, that you are worthy of expressing yourself and being seen despite what happened in your childhood, that you are worthy of romance despite how many times you got your heart broken before, then it can be an energy where you're really allowing yourself to open yourself up for love once more, open yourself up to create, open yourself up to be seen, and take risks again. You get what I'm saying? So don't shy away from taking risks just because you experienced challenges in the past. Challenges is a part of the process, is a part of your story. It's a part of you standing on the top of the mountain at the end and saying, yes, I conquered this, and that. If there was nothing for you to conquer, if there was no challenges for you to overcome, then there's no story. So when Venus moves back into Pisces on March 27th, then that moves into your 4th house of home, and it really feels like home and family is a beautiful place for you right now, and you really recognize where you do feel at home, where you feel connected. But it's also a lot easier for you to connect to your intuition during this time right now, and it feels just like life is just aligned from the inside out. So when you actually connect with your intuition internally, all of your decisions become easier to make. You feel at home with your friendships with Libra ruling over your 11th house. You feel more at home with the work that you're doing with Taurus ruling over your 6th house. And every day just seems to kind of flow a lot more easier, but it's magnified into your life as well. So you're reflecting and realizing how much of where your family support is coming from, where your friendship support is coming from, where your healing is coming from. The internal emotional healing feels a lot easier, and you feel a lot more supported when Venus moves back into Pisces. Capricorn, Venus retrograde begins in your 4th house, which is reflecting on your values and relationships with home and family and the place where you feel at home. This can cause some conflicts in home and family as well. There may be some arguments that resurface or some conflicts that resurface because they need to be brought to a level of closure. And this energy can allow you to bring harmony back into this space. But sometimes you have to remember to gain peace, sometimes you have to fight war to gain peace. Now, you might be realizing there's conflict in your career with Venus ruling over your 10th house, and you want to work from home instead so you can be who you really are and act in a way that is alignment with the way that you truly desire, instead of having to show up at a corporate office or go to a physical location. You want to be in your home environment. So this can be an energy of where you want to feel like you want to work for yourself and you want to be more independent in your career and your business. And that's what you're really desiring. But there's certain things that you need to sort out in home and family first, because maybe you don't have the support that you need, or maybe you've got to be you're the only support structure for your kids and your family. So it's like you're battling between what it is that you want and like your desires and other people's desires, because you have to support the kids, even though you want to go out and be your own independent boss and focus on your goals and dreams. So there's something that you need to figure out there, especially with Venus ruling over your 5th house of children as well. I feel as though the kids can be a difficulty in terms of what it is that you're trying to manifest for yourself. As Venus moves into your 3rd house on March 27th, this is an energy where communication gets a lot easier, where you find it a lot easier to communicate your goals and dreams. You also are thinking a lot more positive. It's a lot easier for you to believe in your dreams and think positively, think with inspiration, with hope. You're going to be a lot more drawn to studying spiritual concepts, reading books to inspire you, watching videos that are inspirational, and filling up your mind with things that are going to program you to think in a way that is more positive, more hopeful, and aligns and connects with your dreams and what it is you're trying to manifest. Aquarius. The Venus retrograde begins in your 3rd house, which is going to focus on the way that you're thinking. And is the way that you're thinking valuable for you? Is it aligned with the goals that you're trying to achieve, with the identity of the person that you try to become? Are you allowing yourself to be direct in your communication, whether it's a difficult conversation or not? Or are you just not saying anything when it's something that pisses you off? That's gonna create anger and tension and heat in your mental space. So you need to focus on communicating what it is that you really desire and going for what you want, instead of being that Aquarius, I'm too cool for school shit, and pretending like you don't want something just because you don't want to feel the emotions of rejection if you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Stop pretending like you're so fucking cool, because you know what I'm saying? Because you're not. You know what I'm saying? You are, but you're not at the same time. You're not so cool that you don't want anything. Like, there is things that you want, so ask for it. There is things that you want to say, so say it. Like, stop trying to pretend like you don't want stuff and being so detached and aloof, because, you know what I'm saying, it's just so played out. You know what I'm saying? Just be who the fuck you are. And I know that you have the energy of being authentic, but sometimes your detachment is just you trying to pretend to yourself that you don't want what it is that you really actually want, because what if you don't get it, and then you feel abandoned, you feel, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? So say what it is that the fuck you actually want. And that's going to actually allow you to step into the energy of your higher self, with Libra ruling your 9th house. So you can actually, it might be a great time for you to actually be actively studying again, going back to college, going back to university, studying some high-level concepts, universal law, just like whatever it is that you need to study. If you need to go back to study right now, then do that. You know what I'm saying? Connect with that energy. And this may also be a time where you're learning about where you want to, where it is that you want to go. Potentially abroad, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to go abroad? Do you want to move abroad or live abroad? That could be an option for you as well, because you're realizing that your local environment is not for you. So you might want to start moving abroad or going exploring in different locations. As Venus moves back into Pisces in your 2nd house, this is great energy for your money, and the great energy for your self-esteem, where you really begin to start believing in your own value, believing in your own self-esteem. And it's a great energy for money to start flowing in right now. But also realize that the 2nd house is also about how you spend money. So it's also going to feel a lot more pleasurable for you to spend money, which might end up being a bad thing, as you just feel, oh my God, money is just abundant. You just spend off all your money, you know what I'm saying? So be careful about that, because it is going to be a lot more pleasurable for you to spend money. Yes, you can step into the abundance mentality, because it's going to be a lot easier for you to step into the belief of money, of everything that you spend comes back to you 10 times over. But just balance the practicality of that. Saturn is still in Pisces, so just balance that practicality with the belief of abundance, and that will really work well for you financially and in your self-esteem. Pisces, Venus retrograde starts in your 2nd house of money and your self-esteem and your self-worth. which may cause you to reflect on the energies of, do you feel as though you have to work harder, or do you feel as though you always have to work and take action and force everything to make money? Like, does money making feel like just a push and a shove and a force for you all of the time? Does it feel like you're actually aligned with the identity of a person who is worthy of money and deserves money? This is an energy for you to reflect on during this time. And what is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with possessions? What is your relationship with your self-worth? All of these are questions that you need to dive into during this time. And there may be hard questions for you to ask, because some of the things that you don't want to face. And the 8th house rules over the 8th house of Venus as well, because the 8th house is ruled by Libra for you. So it's also good for you to invest in yourself and focus on, okay, what investments are you investing into your self-worth, into your ability to make more money? How are you investing in your ability to make more money? How are you investing in your ability to become a more valuable person? With Venus also ruling your 3rd house, how are you investing in your mind, in your learning, in your studies, in your communication skills? Your communication skills are also going to help you to make more money. So as Venus moves back into Pisces on the 27th, then this is also going to be an energy where you feel more loved as a person. You feel more connected to yourself than ever, as Venus is exalted in Pisces. And it really helps you to connect to your own vision for yourself, your own vision for your life. And you begin to start flowing through life more in terms of the way that you approach things. It makes it easier for you to let go of your identity, an old identity that no longer serves you. And it almost feels like you're in a bit of a walking dream, which can sometimes be a little bit confusing or a little bit delusional, but allow the delusion to work in your favor by choosing to believe in a reality that is most beneficial for you, by choosing to believe in a version of yourself that is most prosperous, by choosing to believe in a dream reality, because all of these realities already exist. You just have to choose them. And Venus in Pisces makes it easier for you to choose that reality for yourself. So that's the Venus retrograde reading for all signs. If you do want to book a free 10-minute reading, the link is in the description. Subscribe, like, comment, share, do all of the engagements. We want to build up this community and make it a place for all of us. I appreciate you.